Hello there. I think I am 10 seconds in. I've not said anything to anyone yet, but anyway, I'm going live just because I've been struggling with this. I did get a package in today. It's an unboxing, so to speak. And, to me, it's not um, it's a thing that I think about a lot, and I feel like we should definitely uh, talk about it, but in a kind of a less formal setting, but kind of give you my thoughts on it. So really, it's just a kind of a discussion around slabbing. So I wrote down some notes. I'm going to be very purposeful with what I talk about while I do the unboxing, so there is some payoff here. I have seen the images. I know that if you know. What's it called? The NGC. You get something turned in, then they'll send it back, and you get the images online, usually ahead of the package. But anyway, so I'm just going to kind of high level cover, uh, what my thoughts are about slabbing, and maybe give you a different perspective than what you have in terms of slabbing, uh, and why it's beneficial, but also problematic. So, with that being said, just as a lead up, I did submit four of what I would consider my. Hello, Steve. Thanks for joining. Uh, four of my better coins. One that I thought a great deal of, and the other three, I was very curious to see what the grade is. Now, from watching enough YouTube about ancient coins, I do know that, or American coins, that this is obviously a subject of much discussion and a lot of passion about slabbing, but for an entirely different reason. And that's why this to me is very important to just kind of explain ourselves on the ancient side. So if you're coming into the hobby blind, you'll at least have some kind of idea as to what our thoughts are about it. So I submitted four coins. Heliocles, which is a Bactrian coin, which I don't think I've ever seen an ancient that's nicer than that. I got a Demetrius Poliorcetes, which again is one of my favorite names of all time in history. I got a Antiochus the Seventh, I believe, which is the Child King, and Coes. So all of these are what I would consider my kind of big ticket items. What I think are very important coins, and part of this I had to do financially, or with thoughts behind financially, and the other part of it's just out of interest. So as I submit ancient coins, there's a few things that I know that are potentially different than what you would think about with Americans or world coins as you're submitting them. So there is not, and again, people can stop me, but there is not a uniformed grading scale. For those of you guys that are uh, American hobbyists who, way back in the day, would look and identify, how many lines of hair are on the front of a Morgan dollar, and that qualifies you as an extremely fine or very fine plus. And so very specific about the details. But when you think about how ancient coins are and um, how they were minted, very unscientific. So ancient coins, different than modern coins, were hand struck. And so each coin doesn't start from the same point, the same center. Every coin is different. It moves, it shapes. So grading insofar as looking at a coin and being able to identify the number of lines of hair that are flowing at a given point may be inconsistent, one amongst the you know different minting and available, or the strike and the quality of the strike, but also um, the number of dies. But there obviously none of this was done um, where it was machine driven. So the inside of these dies, the actual artwork is done by hand. And so each one of these dies is unique to themselves. Not the coins themselves are always a little bit different, particularly, to look at the dyes. And I know that Americans have, or Euro coins have a bunch of different dyes and there's slight variations and all that kind of stuff. Very, very understood. But we're talking about worlds of difference. So to me, the starting point for ancient coins is a very hard starting point. That's kind of the beginning of the discussion. How do you have uniform grading? The other part of that, which is difficult, is because the American coins are so detailed and world coins are so detailed in the record keeping and how many are produced and all that kind of stuff, you have a good sense of whether you're making an investment in something that is uh, rare or known quantities, number of coins that were minted on this die. I mean, there's so much detail that you can get very specific about when it comes to coins that are minted in a modern era. Unfortunately, that is not the case for ancient coins, as you can imagine. There is not a lot of history or documentation around that. And specifically, the older you get, I think the documentation gets worse. We do know some things about some coins, but we don't know all things about any coin. Many of these coins are turned up, they pulled out of the ground. They haven't been seen or touched by anybody in 2,000 years. There may be a book about it. There may not be a book about it. There's just so many unknowns. So for a person to grade, they should have some kind of work instruction or some kind of lines that go that follow. And in this case, the we don't have that because who has all of the books about all of the different coins from antiquity that would have what the details are, what you should be looking for when you're grading, and what pieces or elements should be there or shouldn't be there. There's nothing. So you have a lot of unknowns in terms of how many. You have a lot of unknowns about what it really should look like, complete, and then you definitely have a lot of unknowns about consistency in grading. So those are kind of right off the bat sticking points for ancient coin collectors. Now, what has this given us? Well, this has given us an ability to um, grade to the best of our knowledge, for sure. We can look at these coins and grade them and feel pretty good about it. Now, NGC employs probably some of the brightest minds in the coin industry. I know that Barry Murphy is their head of grading and is probably one of the most well-respected people in the industry. But everybody that works there they're all wealth of expertise. They've all been dealers for 30 years. They're all very knowledgeable about the coin base. Um, but that can be daunting, and it's so anyway, they are using the best technology that they have available to inspect the coins, look to see if there's any obvious signs of fakes or forgeries or tooling where somebody's chiseling to try and bring out the surfaces of a coin to make it look like it's in better condition and not nearly as worn, smoothing, die shifts, die breaks, all kinds of stuff that it will identify, and they will rate you based on their scale, which is a pretty, I would say, or a pretty uh, low end complexity grading scale. And so they're taking the information that they have and assigning a grade to it. They're not guaranteeing authenticity, but they are, uh, what's it called? Giving their best guess to whether the coin is, or best educated guess, I should say, whether the coin is real or not. So those are, kind of what they're looking. So it does give us a scale. It does give us an area to look at, how we feel about the coins. Now, does everybody have the same kind of thoughts about how grades are or what they should be? No, and that's a common thing between the Americans and the world coins and ours. Um, so, there's always going to be that, but because they don't have as good information specifically about what the entire coin should look like and what are the details and all that kind of stuff, it's a little bit more complex. But it does give us a grading scale. It also allows us to take numbers. So NGC is taking numbers. They're taking quantities of coins and they're photographing them and they're putting them in their system. And there is some knowledge about how many coins that are available in a given market that have been graded. Ancients are not frequently graded for many reasons, but a lot of people choose not to. So there's a lot known about the coins that are graded, not so much known about the coins that aren't graded. Uh, so those are all things that are very, you have to put your mind around. So the other thing I want to touch on, which you'll see here, the other thing about grading is that it has kind of forced people to create a uh, price guide, so to speak, or at least a mental price guide as to what they should expect for certain coins that are in certain conditions. And that's natural because it follows all the other uh, collecting areas, whether it's comic books or coins or baseball cards, whatever it is. We like to assign a value. Now, again, ancients is not a very well documented market in terms of what a price should be because we don't know the supply. Unless we know the full supply, we don't know how much demand there is. And because we don't know what the supply is, it's always going to be yes, but we found 1,000 of them in the ground. So that's kind of a piece that makes it another layer of complexity because whatever they have looked at is only what they've looked at, and they're not aware of what's in the earth. So neither are we. So there's still some outstanding. But in NGC's case, they will assign a star to, I believe, their top 5%. But anyway, so you have an ancient coin that's pretty inconsistent in terms of the makeup. We don't know the quantities. We don't know the volumes of these coins that are available. We don't have a good idea as to how many are in excellent or very good condition. So a lot of reasons to be, hesitant. So that's kind of point one. And the thing about ancient coins is we're not talking about something that is, again, a tool and die where somebody programs a machine to make a die to have a repeatable coin. These are artists. And so, me, one of the things that really adds value to ancient coins is the artistry, is the toning, is the beautiful effects. Did the artist consider this when they were designing this little die? Were they looking at it in that way? And there's an artistic value in ancient coins that I find is probably way more extreme than what I would consider new age modern coins. And so there is that element too. Now, you'll unbox it or you'll get a coin that, maybe it didn't grade out, or maybe it graded out what you thought it would, but it's more beautiful than that. And it seems low given the case that it's in. So anyway, long story short, I've talked for 10 minutes and I haven't even opened a box, and we're doing an unboxing video. So anyway, I am going to unbox these guys, and I got another surprise in the mail, but I'm going to unbox these, and I figure I'd do it on YouTube. Normally I do it on Instagram, uh, but at least it'd be in a familiar place. Uh, okay. So we got the giant box, and then we have the little box, and everybody knows what comes in the little box. So just got to find out where to open it at, and we will be good. And that did not work. Let's see here. This is the part of the box that I always have problems with. Okay, I think we're almost there. Boy, is this serious. I don't blame them, though. It's a lot of... Okay. There we go. So there's the 4. Okay. So let's start off real quick. We'll talk about the obvious guy, and I'll put it in front of you. So this is Heliocles, right? And so, from my perspective, probably one of the nicest coins I've ever seen from an ancient. I'm trying to get some focus here. Sorry about that. But anyway, so the grade on here is a MS star. Whoa, the closer I get, the better. It's a 5545. Um, and it's designated fine style. Uh, because this coin I intentionally sent in for grading, I did look, and this is the actual highest graded one that's ever been graded. And to me, it's just an incredible coin. So as a collector, I see this, and I'll just be honest with you, I don't see, um, I don't see the what's it called, the it's just man, do I just like, I love it. It's great. I want to take it out. That's my natural reaction. I want to hold it. But what you see here is because there is a grading system now, and there is some kind of value behind each of these grades, and there is some kind of known quantity to how many of these are the finest 5% or whatever is made. So now this coin has a different value. This coin is not only this coin and the history tied to it, but it's also um, sorry, Josh. Uh, it's also the nicest one that's been found. Sorry, I'm trying. I don't know why. So now it's got a, there you go, boy, red, dead nuts. So now it's got an additional value. So now you can chase it to be the nicest one that you have, right? So that's kind of the dilemma. So now we're not collecting the coin itself; we're collecting the plastic. Uh, but that's the market we're kind of in. So my words of advice to you guys, and this is free advice, it doesn't matter. Always the biggest concern for us collectors is that you're doing this and not this. So we're looking at all of this information, and we don't care what this looks like. And that's the biggest heartbreak for us, because we the collector, we the appreciators of art and beauty love this, and what it means in history. This is great. This is a modern thing. This is ancient, and we like that. So anyway, that's Heliocles. That's the first one. I'm probably going to uh, go to auction with that guy, because it's just because of what it is. Okay, now let's get into grades that are a little bit more um, down to earth. So this is my favorite guy, Demetrios Poliarchides. And so this is a really, really cool type. Um, I just wish I wish I had them all. They're so neat. They don't have as high a relief as you would think they do, because the Broad's prow really makes it look like it's very three-dimensional. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, so beautiful coin. The strike on the reverse, I mean, is beautiful. There's a few little corrosion spots, but generally an incredible, incredible tet, and one of the finer styles of the coins that. Anyway, so I got this grade. I got an AU 4545. So now I'm looking at this coin. It doesn't have, AU is fine, almost uncirculated. It doesn't really have the star value. Well, what it does have is some beautiful toning, which, again, you guys have seen these coins so many times. I'm sure you're all tired of seeing them. But anyway, it has incredible toning and detail on the coin. And it's just absolutely stunning. So I don't want you to do this probably on this coin. I would prefer you look at this. So that's a different way of marketing. That's a different aspect. So I feel like in this case, just from a profit perspective, or thinking about the joy of sharing something, this would be a coin that I would have for sale at A&A, and I would probably have outside of the slab, and I would probably let you hold it and say, this is an incredible piece of artwork. Because to me, with this kind of grade, this doesn't really mean a whole lot, right? So, and it's no offense, it's a good grade. It looks right. It's right on. Um, but I don't. I think the thing is worth more outside of the. Okay. So this is my favorite one. This is a grade that I did not expect, but I should have, and for a lot of reasons. So this is a coin um, where you kind of get lost in its beauty and maybe lose some of the details. And so that's the point that I'm trying to bring to you on these. So this is a XF star, which okay, that's fine. It's an extremely fine coin, one of the nicest. That's fine. But what we have is, again, we have a star, and that's fine. That's a great designation. But I don't believe that this is more valuable in here. And I think it's really neat in hand. And this would be another one that I would not have. Uh, what's it called? I would not have in a case because I think it's worth more to you and to me if I can hold it. And finally, okay, so this is what I would consider the most what I was most disappointed about, and it's not really their fault, it's my fault, but this is Co's. This is a highly sought after tetradrachm with the crab on the reverse. You can't really see it great. Yeah, I do see that, Dan. Yeah, yeah. Well, we are just break it out of the plastic. Um, but the strike on the reverse is kind of weak, not my favorite. But the obverse is about as beautiful in terms of Hercules as you can get, and I get an XF. And I'm not fine style doesn't really bring it up. Again, look at this coin is nearly perfectly round. How many ancient coins are nearly perfectly round? Just beautiful coin. So this is again, crack it back in my hand. It's an experiment, but uh, a kind of a decision making process that we all have to go to when we get our coins slabbed. So generally, my kind of 2 cents in regards to slabbing is one, there's still too many, there's still a lot of questions. A lot of us are kind of mathematicians in our head. We have kind of the weird nerd checklist in our head, and we can do stuff like that and figure out things in our head. And so we want to create prices, values. We want to create grading systems that we trust and have faith in and that we can rely on, because of the uncertainty around the mintage, the where mints were. We don't even, I mean, there could be mints that we don't didn't even know existed and then turn it up one day. There's just a lot of unknowns about ancient coins in terms of, you know, quality, all that kind of stuff. So there is a certain amount of skepticism and, I guess pra- being pragmatic in us collectors because we feel like yes, there we can see a place for that. Yes, we understand that, but no, I don't know if we're completely there yet. But I uh, do think that they will continue to make a better product that appeals to us. But if you're a new collector and you want a level of certainty around your ancient coins, and you don't feel like you have built the kind of network that you can trust, that can help guide you buying not fakes or fakes, um, slabs are a great way because they're right, in the high 90s for sure. And that's a good way to feel safe. As you develop into the ancient coin collecting world, my suggestion would be one is if your motive is profit based, then you want to look at this. And I love ancient coins. I'm doing it for a business so I can hold more ancient coins, if that makes sense. Um, so there is a profit motive, but that's not my particular deal. It's a secondary and awesome part of collecting. But I fell in love with what's down here, and that's why I've collected. So you just have to kind of see how it fits into your collection. You may sell on the side and want some slabs so you can sell them on eBay or whatever that is, and that's a perfectly legitimate way to do business. But if you're collecting and or you've developed some kind of level of understanding of what to look for in fakes and non-fakes, then then you know then you can start to think about, is it worth it? Is it worth it for me to send it in? Is it worth it for me to get it back and not be satisfied with the grade? That's a decision you'll have to make. Or are you somebody that's like, I got to have one of every type, so I'm just going to stack them up, um, and that's going to complete my collection? And that's a great way to collect too. So all of it's great. Just from our perspective, what slabbing a coin means at this point. And so, Brian, thanks for asking the question. Um, there's different levels of service with NGC. There's the kind of normal service where it goes into the regular queue. I think I don't know if I don't want to say it wrong, but I think it's like $40 a coin or something like that at that level. And it could take anywhere from 6 weeks to 2 months, or 4 weeks, depending on how busy they are. But there's a queue for sure. Or you can pay to expedite. And get it processed through faster. That takes about 5 days, but costs about $120 per coin. So that's something you have to consider. There's also a lot of different descriptors you can add, subtract. You can get their fancy photographs, all that kind of stuff. You can have done for you. They can even do a conservation service. Again, I don't know how frequently people use that for ancients, but there is a conservation service. Anyway, so I felt like sharing that, and then I did actually, since I have you here, one of the coolest people in the whole world, Constantine, uh, who you may know from the group, since it's a pretty close group of people watching me. He did send me 2 coins, and so I am going to brag on him because this is why I love ancients. He sent me a very nice note, and I'm always appreciated of our good friendship. But anyway, Constantine's coins he sent me. So he got me started in this hobby. Really, if it wasn't for him, I would not be collecting. And so we would talk every day about coins. Oh, and we still do. But anyway, so I bought 2 coins off of him that I thought were really neat, and I thought maybe the group would like them. So I'll burn through them real quick. I'll put them up on the site and stuff like that. The first coin I got there he is. So that's a Sulla denarius. And that is everybody should know who Mr. Sulla is. And he is probably one of the most important people in history, or one of the more important people in history. It helped kind of cue in the end of a republic, was a dictator, won all kinds of wars. But anyway, this is a cheapy denarius. One of the more important people in history. You can own a denarius with his name on it for $300, $250. Not a big deal, but I just love it. And the other one I got was from him was another imperatorial coin, and one that doesn't come up very often. Let's see, but you can't really see. It's Augustus, and on the reverse, it's him and Agrippa. And another cheapy denarius coin that has 2 of the most important people, and I will say most important people in history on it, and can be had for less than $500. Again, ancient coin collecting is one of the coolest things that you can do, and there's nothing that I have found that is a better passion than that. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Continue to follow, continue to like and subscribe, and we will continue to make this content so you can watch. Have a great day. Thank you.